Welcome to Sri Chaitanya. Welcome to JE Max season number 2 of JE Max. Through this season, we are completely concentrating on a particular chapter which is very, very important for both the mains and advanced, of course, for board examinations also. And of that, complex numbers one, complex numbers chapter is one. And we are end of the complex numbers, and in this through these lessons we are completely concentrating the demo is there on its application for the complex numbers. So far successfully we have completed 58 lessons. This is lesson number 59. So my friends, please don't forget to check the description there. I have provided all the links of the previous lessons also. And through this lesson, we are solving the problems from the ICON integrated textbook. Because the problems from exercise 5.2, they are a little bit advanced one, and all the problems are very, very important for mains and advanced examination only. You master those things. First, you completely solve all the problems which are given in the integrated textbook. That serves everything for you. That knowledge is more than sufficient to crack anything in mathematics, especially. Okay, now coming to 17th problem. If alpha 1, comma, alpha 2, comma, alpha 3, and etc., alpha n are nth roots of unity, then show that sigma r is equal to 1 to n, alpha r whole power m equal to 0 if n is not the factor of integer m equal to 1 if n is a factor of n. While looking at this problem, immediately you will get an idea. The same concept we have applied for solving some other question. You just verify the previous video. In that video also I have mentioned the principle. But now this is the time I am proving the concept. So indirectly what I am going to say is, if alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n are the nth roots of unity, so alpha 1 is 1. Say, don't get confusion. Alpha 1 is 1, alpha 2 is what? Alpha 2, alpha 3 equal to alpha square, and so on. Alpha n equal to alpha power n minus 1, where alpha equal to e power I 2 pi by n. Okay, that's all about alpha 1, alpha 2, the notations. Please don't get any confusion. So here, through this result, what I am going to prove is sum of the mth powers of the roots of nth roots of unity is 0, provided n is not a factor of that power m, equal to 1 if n is a factor of m. Okay, this essence, this concept that we have applied for solving the problem which we had solved in our previous video, now we are ready to prove this concept here. See the hint here. So this is my alpha k, e power I 2 k pi by n, where k equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, up to n minus 1. 0 to n minus 1 means totally how many roots are there? N roots are there. So this is given for me. So 1 power m, e power I pi by n, because if k equal to 1, that is alpha 1. Alpha 1 means, as I mentioned, that is e power I pi by n. Alpha 2, that is e power I 4 pi by n whole power m, that is e power 2 I n minus 1 pi by n whole power m. This is in the form of GP with the common ratio as e power I 2m pi by n. This is in the form of a GP with the common ratio as e power I 2m pi by n. So sum to these are all are what? Sum to n terms. Therefore, a power n minus 1 by a power n minus 1 by what? m r minus 1. So I have written this, and this after simplification 1 minus e power 2m pi I got it, and e power 2m pi I is equal to what? 0 equal to 1 if what? M is not a multiple of n. If m is not a multiple of n. So automatically this value is 1 minus 1. So numerator is 0, 0 by something is 0. So you got this. And if it is a factor of 1, you will get the same. Both numerator and denominator both are same, and they get cancelled, and you will get answer as 1. So okay, this is the proof for solving this model. And of course, my friends, again, don't get any confusion. It is what? An application of sum of the mth powers of a progression which is in GP. Sum of the nth powers of the terms of GP. Sum of the nth powers of the terms of GP. Here I have applied the formula. Okay, now coming to the second question, 17th problem. Second question. If alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n are nth roots of unity, then sigma 1 less than or equal to p less than q less than equal. What is this notation? Majority of the people, they have no idea about this result. See, my friends, let us see. A1 plus A2 plus A3 whole square is given. What is A1 plus A2 plus A3 whole square? This is A1 square plus A2 square plus A3 square plus 2 into A1 A2 plus A2 A3 plus A3 A1. Isn't it? This I can write it as sigma AI square, where I equal to 1, 2, 3. This is 2 into this summation that we can represent it with sigma 1 less than or equal to I less than j less than or equal to 3 ai aj. Both are same. So to learn about that as notation only, here I have given a particular example. Okay. Finally, here I want to show that the sum of the product of the roots taken 2 at a time. Indirectly, what does it mean? The notation means the sum of the product of the roots of the nth roots of unity taken 2 at a time. Another meaning is like that. So instead of using this notation, sometimes in examination they may ask the question, what is the value of sum of the product of the nth roots taken 2 at a time? If they ask the question, immediately you can write answer as 0. How to get it? See, you know that this is the formula, this is a generalized formula, and of course we know that if alpha 1 to alpha k, alpha n are the nth roots of unity, sum of the nth roots of unity is 0. And moreover, sum of the nth powers, already that we have proved it. Just now we have proved it. That sum of the nth powers, that is also 0. Okay. And moreover, when it becomes 0, see the result. If n is not a factor of n, that's why. If n is not a factor of, that's why here n is given what? Greater than or equal to 3 is given. Okay, so this result is 0. So 2 into sigma 1 less than or equal to p less than q less than or equal to n alpha p alpha q. That is sum of the nth roots of unity is 0, and from the above result, therefore that this is sigma 1 less than or equal to p less than q less than or equal to n alpha p alpha q becomes what? 0. So to prove this concept, I have applied the 17th problem number 1 as a lemma, the support of the theorem, because there I have applied the first rule. That's why here the condition has mentioned what? N greater than or equal to 3. Since it is mentioned, therefore it is not the factor of n. That's why I have taken this as 0. Otherwise, the result won't give. You never get this kind of result. Okay. And my friends, see this question. If p comma q comma are the distinct cube roots of unity, cube roots of not unity, distinct cube roots of a complex number z, okay, and a comma b comma c are complex numbers, and such that ap plus bq plus c are equal to 0, not equal to 0, then prove that. Okay, this is very simple, but distinct cube roots of a complex number z, distinct cube roots of a complex number z. Suppose my z is 1, I have solved this problem by particular case. By particular case I am solving, because let my complex number z be 1. Of course, here I am solving the particular case, because if you generalize it, you will get also. So let p equal to 1 and q equal to omega and r equal to omega square. These are all the distinct cube roots of unity, you say, for example. So aq plus br plus cp into ar plus bp plus cq by this whole square, that's as given. So you replace p, q, r with omega square and 1. Now, denominator I have written separately, and brilliantly what I did was, I multiplied one factor with omega and another factor with omega square in the denominator, because omega into omega square is omega cube, that is 1. So if I have multiplied omega with the first factor of the denominator and omega square with the second factor of the denominator, obviously the first two factors are nothing but the factors in the numerator. Therefore, both gets cancelled and you will get answer as 1. This is a particular case only. Like that, you just solve if the cube roots of a complex number, you solve like this. Okay, that means cube root of z. Suppose it is the case. That means I can write this is cube root z into cube root 1. That means cube root z into 1 comma omega square. So in the place of 1 p, I can write 1 into cube root z, q omega cube root z, or omega square cube root z, Of course, if I have substituted all the cube root digits in the place of PQR, automatically that cube root digit will get cancelled. You will get the same result as it is. That's why. That's why here you just this is the brilliant step. I have multiplied omega and omega square in the for to each and every factor of the denominator. Thereby, I got the same numerator in the denominator also. So both the terms gets cancelled, and I got answer as 1. Clear? Okay. Now, coming to this was the brilliant problem, and they asked this question in one of the advanced examination also. Read the question properly. Z1 comma Z2 are two complex numbers, and 1 comma alpha square and so on, alpha power n minus 1 are the nth roots of unity. If they are nth roots of unity, then what is my alpha? E power I 2 pi by n. If alpha power k is nth root of unity, then modulus of alpha power k is 1, because their modulus of each and every nth root of unity is 1. That's why they lie on a unit circle. They act as what? Vertices of a regular polygon with the center as horizon. These points already we have discussed in our previous videos also, previous lessons also. Now let us see the hint here. So since they are the nth roots of unity, so absolute value of each and every root is 1. That's fact. Now modulus whole square, forget about first sigma. First let it be. First let us expand this. You know that mod Z1 plus Z2 whole square is equal to what? Again, Z1 plus Z2 into Z1 bar plus Z2 bar. Okay. So you multiply this. Mod Z1 square mod alpha power k Z2 square plus Z1 Z2 bar plus Z1 bar Z2. After simplification, because mod A1 A2 equal to mod A1 mod A2, so you apply all the modulus properties brilliantly, and of course this becomes what? 1, because mod alpha power k equal to 1. So I got mod Z1 square plus mod Z2, because these are the constants. No k term is given here. That's why they are constant. Mod Z1 square plus mod Z2 square. Here it is Z1 Z2 bar alpha bar power k, Z2 Z1 bar alpha power k, where k equal to running from 1 to n minus 1. Now I am applying sigma on both sides. If I have applied sigma on both sides, then this is constant. How many sigma numbers are there? N numbers are. So n into mod Z1 square, and again this is also n into mod Z2 square. So better is you take n as common, n into mod Z1 square plus mod Z2 square, plus this is 0, because sum of the nth roots of unity is 0. Sum of the nth roots of unity is 0. If sum of the nth roots of unity is 0, their conjugate sum is also 0. That's why. So I got n into mod Z1 square plus mod Z2 square. So this is the brilliant application of what? Nth roots of unity. Okay. Hope my friends you like this video. You please share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon, and we will meet with the next lesson soon. Thank you.